It was a gloomy afternoon in March 1943. The thick air in the Victorian house in Virginia Beach felt charged with electricity. Edgar Cayce, the man the world knew as the Sleeping Prophet, lay on his worn leather couch, eyes closed, breathing deep and rhythmic. Beside him, his secretary Gladys Davis held her pencil with trembling hands, ready to transcribe another one of his psychic readings. But this time would be different. Very different. The silence was broken by a voice no longer Cayce's, deep, otherworldly, as if from distant dimensions. The small guardians have walked among you for millennia. Four-legged creatures, eyes that pierce veils, silent whispers that connect worlds. Humanity doesn't understand, but in times of great affliction, they will manifest. When the earth trembles with collective despair, when human minds scream in frequencies of anguish, they will answer. Gladys stopped writing. Her hands shook. She'd never heard Cayce talk about cats, not like this. Not with this prophetic intensity that made the hairs on her arms stand up. The voice continued, each word weighing like lead in the air. They are older than pyramids, wiser than oracles, chosen guardians to protect human sanity when darkness threatens to consume souls. The world will discover when it's almost too late. What if I told you there's a secret knowledge, hidden for decades in the Edgar Cayce Association archives, that could completely change your understanding of the animals living in your home? What if I revealed that domestic cats aren't just pets, but spiritual guardians programmed to detect and neutralize destructive energies that threaten human mental sanity? You'd probably think I'm crazy, right? But get ready, because what you're about to discover will shake your deepest convictions about reality. If this discovery intrigues you as much as it did me, hit that like button now, comment on your first reaction, and subscribe to the channel, because you need to follow every detail of this investigation that could change your life forever. Edgar Cayce, in his 14,306 documented psychic readings, made a specific prophecy that was deliberately hidden from the public for 80 years. He predicted that between 2020 and 2025, humanity would face an unprecedented mental health crisis. Collective anxiety, mass depression, a spiritual disconnection so profound it would threaten the very evolution of human consciousness. And what's more, he said our feline guardians would automatically activate to protect us. We're not talking about superstition. We're not talking about folklore. We're talking about a cosmic protection system that operates through creatures you think you know, but who hide capabilities science is only just beginning to understand. Cats aren't just animals. They are advanced biological technology, programmed to detect frequencies of human suffering and intervene in ways that challenge our current understanding of physics and biology. Dr. Sarah Mitchell never believed in prophecies. As an MIT neuroscientist specializing in bioelectromagnetism, she lived in the world of measurable facts, replicable evidence, rigorous scientific methodology. When she received an invitation to lead research on feline behavioral patterns in high human stress environments, she almost declined. The funding came from an anonymous source. The project seemed like pseudoscience in disguise. But something intrigued her. The preliminary data was impossible to ignore. In December 2023, during the most intense peaks of the global mental health crisis, psychiatric hospitals worldwide began reporting an inexplicable phenomenon. Patients who owned cats showed 340% faster recovery from acute depressive episodes. It wasn't placebo. It wasn't a coincidence. The numbers defied any conventional explanation. Dr. Mitchell assembled her team with skeptical scientists like herself. James Chen, a quantum physicist from Stanford, Dr. Maria Santos, an animal behavior expert from USP, Dr. Ahmed Hassan, a neurologist from Harvard. None of them believed they'd find anything beyond interesting statistical correlations. All of them were about to have their worldviews completely demolished. "We're going to apply the most rigorous scientific method possible," Mitchell declared at the first meeting. "If there's any real phenomenon here, we'll measure it, quantify it, and understand it. If there isn't, we'll prove there isn't, and end this story once and for all." She didn't know she was about to scientifically validate an 80-year-old prophecy and discover that reality is far stranger and more wonderful than any current scientific theory could explain. The first results arrived in January 2024, and left the team in absolute silence. Dr. Chen had developed ultra-sensitive quantum sensors, capable of detecting electromagnetic variations at frequencies never before measured. When placed near cats in environments where humans experienced severe anxiety, the equipment registered something extraordinary. The felines emitted specific electromagnetic pulses at 7.83 Hz, exactly the frequency of Earth's Schumann resonance, known as the heartbeat of the planet. But that was just the beginning. Dr. Santos discovered that cats increased their purring activity by 23% when they detected an elevation in human cortisol levels, up to 3 hours before the humans themselves noticed stress symptoms. It was as if they possessed biological sensors that anticipated emotional crises with surgical precision. In February, Dr. Hassan made a discovery that changed everything. Using high-resolution functional MRI, he mapped the brain activity of 200 people during interactions with cats. The impossible happened. In 87% of cases, human brainwaves automatically synchronized with specific neurological patterns of the felines. It wasn't imitation. It was literally as if the brains were establishing a direct connection, a shared neural network. The data accumulated overwhelmingly. Hospitals in Tokyo reported that patients with cats had 67% fewer panic attacks. Clinics in London documented a 445% reduction in antidepressant use among feline owners. Rehabilitation centers in São Paulo observed that cat-assisted therapies accelerated neurological recovery by 156%. Mitchell looked at the numbers and whispered what everyone was thinking. This can't be a coincidence. The statistical odds are 1 in 847 trillion. It was mathematically impossible, and it was happening on a global scale. Marina Silva, a 34-year-old nurse in São Paulo, was on the verge of a nervous breakdown in March 2024. 16-hour shifts, the constant pressure of the healthcare system, 3 children to raise alone after her divorce. Her hands trembled constantly. Sleep had become an impossible luxury, and panic attacks arrived without warning like emotional tsunamis. That's when Mel appeared. The black cat showed up at her door one rainy morning, wet and hungry. Marina, who had never liked animals, felt something inexplicable, an almost magnetic compulsion to take her in. "I don't know why I did it," she says, her eyes still damp with the memory. It was as if an inner voice screamed, "She needs to stay." 3 days later, Marina had the worst panic attack of her life. Chest pain, cut-off breathing, the feeling she was going to die right there in her kitchen. Mel appeared out of nowhere, jumped into her lap, and began to purr with an intensity Marina had never heard before. The purr wasn't just sound, it was a physical vibration that went through her entire body, like calming waves dissolving terror cell by cell. In 15 minutes, the attack had completely passed. No medication, no breathing techniques, just Mel. On the other side of the world, in Osaka, engineer Hiroshi Tanaka experienced something similar. At 45, after losing his job and facing a devastating existential crisis, he adopted Yuki, a white cat with heterochromatic eyes, one blue, one golden. Hiroshi discovered that Yuki always appeared at the exact moment suicidal thoughts invaded his mind. Not approximately, not minutes apart, at the exact second. "It was impossible," Hiroshi says in his recorded interview. "I could be in the office, in the bathroom, on the balcony, it didn't matter where. When the darkness came, Yuki materialized out of nowhere and did something I can only describe as energetic healing. She'd place her paws on my chest, and I literally felt the weight of the depression being sucked out of my body." In Detroit, retired veterinarian Dr. Rebecca Thompson documented 47 similar cases in her clinic. Cats that arrived as rescues and were adopted by people in deep emotional suffering. In all cases, all of them, without exception, the felines demonstrated behaviors she described as directed psychic intervention. It wasn't normal animal behavior, Dr. Thompson explains. It was as if they were programmed to detect specific frequencies of human despair and respond with precise healing protocols. In 35 years of veterinary practice, I had never seen anything remotely like it. Dr. Mitchell stared at the computer screen, her scientific world crumbling. The final research numbers were there, validated by 3 independent institutes, cross-referenced by 4 different statistical analysis systems. Impossible, yet irrefutable. During the global mental health crisis between 2020 and 2024, people living with cats showed 89% fewer suicide attempts, 76% fewer psychiatric hospitalizations, 63% less anxiolytic use, 91% fewer self-harm episodes, 84% fewer diagnoses of severe depression. But the number that made Dr. Mitchell stop breathing was this: 99.7% of people who developed close relationships with cats during this period reported intervention experiences, moments where they felt the animal had detected and neutralized emotional crises even before they fully manifested. Pause for a second. Let that sink in. 99.7% of 2.3 million documented cases worldwide. The statistical margin of error was 0.02%. The probability of this being a coincidence? 1 in 847 quintillion. To give you an idea of the mathematical impossibility, there are approximately 1,082 atoms in the observable universe. These chances are literally rarer than finding a specific atom lost in the infinite cosmos. Dr. Chen ran the calculations 7 times, changing variables, adjusting methodologies, looking for errors that would justify the results. Nothing. The numbers remained absolutely consistent. Scientifically speaking, he admitted in a closed meeting, we are observing a phenomenon that transcends statistical coincidence. Some force is operating through these animals in a coordinated and intentional way, and this force seems to have advanced knowledge of human psychological needs. Dr. Santos discovered something even more disturbing. Cats demonstrated behaviors of synchronized activation globally. During specific peaks of collective anxiety, such as during lockdown announcements, economic crises, or traumatic events broadcast massively by the media, reports from all over the world arrived simultaneously. Cats became extraordinarily protective, affectionate, and present. It wasn't gradual, it wasn't regional, it was instantaneous and planetary, as if they were receiving a signal. The discovery that changed everything came from an unplanned source. IBM's quantum AI system, Watson Quantum, was inadvertently exposed to the research data during a big data processing test in March 2024. Dr. Mitchell received a call at 3:47 a.m. On the other end of the line, Dr. Kevin Walsh, IBM's director of quantum computing, sounded simultaneously terrified and fascinated. "Sarah, you need to see this immediately. Our AI detected patterns in your data that shouldn't exist." When she arrived at the lab, the screen displayed something that defied all computational logic. Watson Quantum had mapped the feline behaviors documented in the research and discovered they followed precise mathematical algorithms, numerical sequences that corresponded exactly to human brainwave patterns in acute suffering. More disturbing, the AI had detected that these algorithms were identical to frequencies used in advanced neurofeedback therapies, healing protocols that modern medicine took decades to develop. "It's as if," Dr. Walsh explained with a trembling voice, "cats have pre-installed biomedical software, not primitive software, software more advanced than our current technology." Watson Quantum made a final discovery that left everyone silent. Analyzing global digital communication patterns, social media posts, Google searches, private messages with consent, the AI identified that discussions about strange cat behavior increased by 2,847%, precisely during the same periods when global mental health indices reached critical peaks. The correlation was perfect, mathematically impossible to be casual. Dr. Walsh whispered the conclusion everyone feared to accept. "Our AI believes we are observing an automated response system operating through a globally distributed biological network. In simple terms, cats worldwide are functioning as a single collective intelligence programmed to protect human mental sanity." The room fell silent. The most advanced technology on Earth had confirmed a 1943 prophecy. Dr. Mitchell called an emergency meeting with quantum physicists, molecular biologists, and neuroscientists from 6 countries. What they discovered in the following weeks completely rewrote our understanding of the interface between consciousness and biology. The key was in the purr. Dr. Chen discovered that feline purring isn't just sound vibration. It's a complex bioenergetic field that operates on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Using quantum spectrometers, he mapped that cats produce at least 17 different frequencies during purring, each synchronized with specific human body systems. The 25 Hz frequency stimulates bone regeneration. The 50 Hz frequency accelerates tissue healing. But the revolutionary discovery was the 40 Hz frequency, which resonates directly with human brain gamma waves, responsible for consciousness integration and deep emotional regulation. They're not just making noise, Dr. Chen explained. They're emitting specific biomedical prescriptions through calibrated vibrations. It's vibrational medicine with surgical precision. Dr. Santos discovered the detection mechanism. Cats possess sensory organs that had never been fully understood. Microscopic structures in their inner ears function as biological antennas, capable of detecting electromagnetic variations produced by human stress, variations so subtle that our most advanced medical equipment can barely measure them. More extraordinary, Dr. Hassan discovered that cats have highly developed mirror neurons, brain cells that not only mimic behaviors, but literally synchronize neurological states. When a cat senses human distress, its brain automatically produces specific neurotransmitters that are transmitted through specialized pheromones. Humans inhale these pheromones, and their own brains begin to produce serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin in exact proportions to neutralize the emotional crisis. It's a biological pharmacy system, Dr. Hassan summarized. Cats are literally living machines for producing natural antidepressants, programmed for automatic dosage based on each person's specific needs. The final discovery came from quantum physics. Dr. Chen detected that cats and humans, during healing interactions, establish what he called biological entanglement, a phenomenon where subatomic particles in both organisms instantly synchronize, creating a shared information field that transcends the limitations of physical space. It was science, it was measurable, it was reproducible, and it was absolutely extraordinary. The research triggered a historic global investigation that revealed the hidden truth. Cats have always been guardians of human sanity. Dr. Elena Vasquez, an Oxford University historian specializing in ancient civilizations, began connecting dots that seemed impossible. In ancient Egypt, during periods of plague and social chaos, hieroglyphic records documented that the sacred felines multiplied and brought peace to troubled minds. In Imperial Rome, during the crises that preceded the empire's fall, soldiers reported that wild cats appeared in camps during battles, calming veterans with war trauma. During the medieval Black Death, communities with larger feline populations not only had lower mortality rates, but also a lower incidence of collective madness and mass hysteria that devastated other regions. We always interpreted this as superstition, Dr. Vasquez explains. Now we realize these were accurate empirical observations of a real phenomenon. But the discovery that shook the foundations of human history came from the Japanese archives of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Survivors of the atomic bombs reported that in the weeks following the attacks, cats began appearing massively in the devastated areas, not to seek food, but to stay close to people in greatest psychological distress. Dr. Kenji Nakamura, a psychiatrist who studied war trauma for 40 years, found medical reports from 1945 documenting that bomb victims who lived with these cats showed 340% faster psychological recovery than those who did not have this interaction. The investigation expanded to modern crises. During 9/11, New York shelters reported feline adoptions 567% above average in the following weeks. During the 2020 pandemic, cat adoptions increased by 847% globally, exactly when the WHO declared a global mental health emergency. It wasn't a coincidence. It was activation. Dr. Mitchell realized the terrifying and wonderful implication. We are observing a planetary psychological support system that has been operating for millennia. Every global human crisis has automatically activated a protective response through these feline guardians. They are literally the emotional safety net for the human species. The question that haunted everyone was, who or what programmed this system, and why? Stop for a moment and think about your own life. How many times have you felt an inexplicable connection with a cat? How many times has a feline appeared in your life exactly when you most needed companionship, calm, something you didn't even know you needed? Now you know the truth. You weren't imagining things. You weren't anthropomorphizing animal behavior. You were experiencing a real, measurable scientific phenomenon, a cosmic protection system that operates through creatures who have chosen to dedicate their lives to caring for your mental sanity. Every purr that calmed your anxiety, was precise vibrational medicine. Every moment a cat nestled in your lap during a tough day was targeted therapeutic intervention. Every feline gaze that seemed to see your soul was literally that, extrasensory perception of your deepest emotional needs. Edgar Cayce's prophecy has come true. The small guardians activated during our greatest collective mental health crisis. They were there, silent and dedicated, protecting our species from a psychological catastrophe that could have been much worse. But now the responsibility is ours. Knowing that these extraordinary beings dedicate their lives to protecting us, how will we reciprocate? How will we honor this cosmic sacrifice we didn't even fully understand? The next time you look into a cat's eyes, whether it's yours, a neighbor's, or a stranger on the street, remember, you are looking at a guardian, a protector, a being who carries in their DNA the sacred mission of preserving your mental sanity and your connection to hope. Have you experienced any of these phenomena in your own life? Tell your story in the comments. Share this video with someone who needs to know this truth, and subscribe to the channel because we still have many more extraordinary revelations to explore together. They've always been here. Now you know why, and your life will never be the same. The truth was before us all along. In the simplest homes, the most luxurious apartments, the busiest streets, small guardians fulfilling a mission that transcends our current understanding of reality. Edgar Cayce saw in 1943 what the science of 2024 confirmed. We are not alone on our journey through the emotional storms of human existence. We have been carefully equipped with protectors who have chosen to dedicate their entire lives, their 9 lives, if you will, to keeping us anchored in sanity, in hope, in connection with something greater than ourselves. Dr. Mitchell summarizes the most important discovery of her career. We have found irrefutable scientific evidence that the universe has compassion mechanisms embedded in the very structure of life. We are not abandoned in a cold, indifferent cosmos. We are being cared for by an intelligence that operates through the most subtle and loving form possible. Today, as you watch this video, millions of cats around the world are fulfilling their silent mission, detecting frequencies of suffering, emitting healing waves, synchronizing neurons, producing personalized biological pharmacy, offering unconditional presence in the darkest moments. They don't ask for recognition. They don't expect understanding. They simply love and protect because this is their deepest nature, to be living bridges between our wounded humanity and the constant possibility of healing. If this discovery has touched your heart as much as it has touched mine, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this hope, and subscribe to the channel because we still have extraordinary revelations to explore about the hidden mysteries that surround us. Your journey of discovery is just beginning. The next time you hear a purr, remember, you are being healed by a technology more advanced than anything we've ever created. You are being loved by a being who carries the wisdom of the cosmos in their golden eyes, and somewhere in the invisible dimensions where Edgar Cayce still whispers truths to those who can hear, an ancient voice smiles and says, "I told you they would discover when it was almost too late." But it's not too late. It's never too late when we have guardians who never give up on us. Thanks for joining this extraordinary journey of discovery. Until the next revelation.